I'm like many other Trainspotting fans. I've been waiting for more than 20 years to see what happened to Mark Renton and his friends. And finally, the wait is over. The sequel already premiered in Edinburgh, where the story is set, earlier this week. And now the rest of us will get a chance to see if the years have been kind to the not-so-fab four.
Spud, Renton, Sick Boy and Begbie are back. The Trainspotting sequel T2 picks up 20 years after the original, taking us back into the lives of the drug addicts from the 1996 film.
Choose life. Choose Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and hope that someone, somewhere cares.
Missed you, mate.
I missed you too, Spud.
The characters are based on books written by Scottish author Irving Welsh, who says the issues facing young people in 2017 are almost the same as those 2 decades ago.
Looking at that whole thing about people basically not having anything to do, and this is what, you know, and that's why it resonates with people who are not kind of from an industrial working class background, because that was the first group of people that had to face that, but now middle class people are facing that whole thing as well.
The first movie won a cult following and propelled the actors Ewan McGregor and Robert Carlyle to fame. It also launched the career of director Danny Boyle, who went on to win an Oscar for Slumdog Millionaire and directed the London Olympics opening ceremony.
Hello, Franco. Simon, I'm home.
The soundtrack, which featured artists like Underworld and Iggy Pop, was also a huge hit. Vanity Fair lists it as the 7th best-selling movie soundtrack of all time. But can the success be repeated this time round? Will the four friends be able to win over the hearts of another generation? And have they decided to choose a different life?
Do you still take heroin?
No.
Film critic Jason Solomons joins me now from London. Jason, like my t-shirt says, the 90s are back. Was it worth the wait?
The 90s never went away, I think. That's half the problem for most of the people that want to see a T2 Trainspotting. It is a trip down nostalgia lane. We all had the poster, we all had the quote from Renton, Choose Life. We all had the 2 soundtracks that the original spawned. We only have to hear little strains of Underworld and Born Slippy to kind of be transported back to the nightclubs of our youths. Can Danny Boyle's new film do the same for us? Is that, in fact, even what the film wants to do?
Irving Welsh said in an interview in the package before you that it still resonates. The messages still resonate now.
The message of the first one was a sort of youthful hope, a bit of anger, but it always had hope. It had energy, it had definitely misery, but it had friendship and it had male bonding and it had hope. Does the second film follow on from that and give us hope for a new generation? Or is it about kind of wallowing in misery and kind of middle age? I'm sorry to report that it's the latter. It does it very well, but it does look at what a crisis of masculinity, a fear of mortality. It is melancholy, it is sad, it wallows in the past and doesn't really look to any future. It is about male disappointment. It used to say choose life. Well, Renton's new speech says choose disappointment, and this film's really gone for it. It doesn't make it as half as happy an experience as you might like to remember the first one being.
So is it just a group of 4 men having a midlife crisis?
I have to say, it's not much more than that. I mean, Danny Boyle is full of energy as usual. The camera is squeezed into every angle in the room. The screen tilts and wobbles like a drunken Scot walking down the Lothian roads after a Edinburgh football derby. It has a lot of energy. It has a lot of the same pop sensibility that the first one had, and yet it doesn't have the same message. The message is one of disappointment. The message is one of your friends will hurt you, your life will hurt you, women will hurt you, your children will desert you. It feels a little bit inauthentic, given how successful the whole first film was for all its performers, its actors, its directors, its producers. There seems to be a little disconnect, and I think the film lacks the hope that you would want it to be there. I'm not saying that you shouldn't see it. It is still a must-see film for an entire generation. You can't actually carry on without finding a story to the answers you had in your head. What happened to Renton? What happened to Spud and Sick Boy? What happened to the fearsome Begbie? They're all still there, but how many times have we come up with a story and a sequel for them in our head? It's been 20 years. We've all thought about what might have happened to those people. We've all compared those people because we all thought, well, we were like Spice Girls. We all had a favourite one of the Trainspotting gang. Which one were you? We've all kind of seen our lives go along those tracks. Do they match up to what we now see on the screen? I don't think so, and I think there's a lot of people going to come out disappointed. However, the theme of the film is disappointment, so I can't say the film fails, I just say it doesn't really aim in the direction that I was hoping it was going to go.
And I always think the fifth member of the band as such was the soundtrack. How's the music this time around?
Well, Danny Boyle said at the film's premiere here in London, he said, you know, people always want to know, will Kelly MacDonald be in it? And will it have a good soundtrack like the last one? Well, how could it? People have been coming up to Irving Welsh and Danny Boyle and sort of giving them tapes over the last 20 years saying, if ever you make Trainspotting 2, you know, have a listen to this. I've got a track that'll be perfect for that soundtrack. That soundtrack, originally, the two of them that it spawned, you know, it managed to bring together what was then Brit pop going on, the Oasis and the Blurs, with that growing dance rave culture that was going on in the UK as well, and managed to make the two of them marry. Now, there isn't a significant youth culture since then, really. Everything's X Factor and Pop Idol and, you know, manufactured boy bands and girl bands. There isn't a significant kind of zeitgeist musically for them to tap into, so they don't bother. They mash up the past. There's a bit of Lou Reed on there. There's a bit of Underworld, which are familiar and make you feel very happy to hear them again. But the new stuff from bands like Wolf Alice and the Young Poets really doesn't match up at all. I don't think people will be buying this new soundtrack in their droves. I don't think people will be putting the poster on their wall. That said, it's because we're all too old to have posters on our wall now.
Well, depressing or not, I'm still going to go see it. Thanks, Jason. Have a good weekend.